Matapos ang kanyang naging kampanya sa Miami Open, muling magbabalik aksyon ang Filipina tennis ace si Eala sa STUNS Open sa Austria, ang kanyang unang torneo sa clay court ngayong season. Matatandaang nagtapos sa isang round of 16 exit ang kampanya ni Eala sa kanyang muling pagsalang.
Eala hadn't played a single point in Austria, and she hadn't even checked into her hotel. But the moment she walked through that airport, everything changed. Philippine flags went up, cameras came out, and the noise hit levels most tennis players only hear after winning a title. The WTA was watching, and honestly, not everyone was comfortable. So the question is simple: can Eala make a serious run on clay this season, or is it still too early to call? Drop your answer in the comments. What happened at that airport tells a story no ranking graphic can capture. On March 25th and 26th in Linz, Austria, Eala stepped into the arrivals area and was immediately met with a wall of Filipino flags, cameras stacked 2 and 3 rows deep, and supporters shouting her name loud enough to fill the entire hallway. She hadn't hit a ball yet, the draw wasn't even out, and the tournament didn't start until April 6th, but the welcome she received felt like a celebration. It looked like a homecoming, like the city had already decided she mattered before she even had the chance to prove it. That's not how tennis usually works. This is a sport where recognition comes after results. You win, then people cheer. You upset a top seed, then the cameras find you. You lift a trophy, then the headlines follow. The order is almost always results first, recognition second. But in Linz, that order flipped completely. The recognition came before the first serve, and that shift is exactly why this moment matters. She arrived as world number 29, which is already remarkable for a 20-year-old, but the crowd wasn't reacting to a ranking. They were reacting to what she has become over the past few months, a name that travels ahead of her, a player whose presence changes the atmosphere, and a story that has clearly outgrown the sport's usual path for rising stars. At the same time, context matters. Just days earlier at the Miami Open, she walked off the court after a tough 0-6, 2-6 loss to Karolina Muchova in the round of 16. That's a rough scoreline, the kind that can shake confidence and make a strong week feel like it ended on a negative note. But it didn't erase what came before. She battled past Laura Siegemund in 3 sets and then defeated Magda Linette in straight sets, which is a legitimate run at that level. Eala handled the loss with maturity. She admitted she was disappointed, but she also said she was proud of her performance and that Miami would always have a special place in her heart. That mindset matters because many players at her age carry losses into the next week, letting it affect their confidence and performance. Eala didn't. She reset, moved forward, and within days she was walking into Austria with a crowd already behind her. Her 2026 season shows this isn't a fluke. Strong performances in Dubai and Abu Dhabi, a breakthrough in Indian Wells, and then a round of 16 in Miami all point in the same direction. Different tournaments, different conditions, but consistent progress. That's not a hot streak, that's growth. Now comes the next challenge, the Upper Austria Ladies Linz, running from April 6 to 12. For the first time in its history, the tournament will be played on indoor clay, creating a completely new dynamic for everyone involved. Eala enters as one of the top-ranked players in the field, but the big question remains whether her game will translate to clay. Clay is different. The pace is slower, the bounce is heavier, and rallies demand more patience. It's a surface that can expose weaknesses and force adjustments. There is real uncertainty here, especially considering her recent losses on hard courts, which were fairly one-sided. This transition is not guaranteed, but that's exactly why the airport moment matters. The fans who showed up weren't reacting to a surface or a draw. They were reacting to her. That kind of support creates energy, adds pressure for opponents, and ensures she is never playing in silence. It becomes an advantage, real mental armor. Her coach, Joan Bosch, has made expectations clear, saying they cannot stay at the same level. That mindset defines this next stage. It's not about immediate perfection, but about adapting, improving, and handling new challenges with composure. Even a solid first-round win in Linz would shift the narrative. It would answer questions about her ability to play on clay, prove her adaptability, and send a message to the rest of the field that she is more than just hype. She is a serious competitor. Beyond Linz, the clay season only gets bigger with events like the Madrid Open, the Italian Open, and eventually the French Open. If she builds confidence now, this stretch could define her season. What happened at that airport wasn't normal, it was a signal. At just 20 years old, Eala is already drawing global attention in a way few players can. Not after a Grand Slam win, not after a title run, but right now in the middle of the season. That kind of momentum shifts attention across the sport, and not everyone is comfortable with that. The WTA has been searching for new global stars, and Eala is bringing something different, a new audience, a new region, and a new energy. The clay season is just beginning, the draw is coming, and she has already arrived with momentum and expectation behind her. She hasn't played a single point yet, but everyone already knows her name. The question now is simple: can she turn that belief into results? That's not a motivational speech. That's a coach setting a standard. It's a reminder that the comfort zone is the real danger, and every new stage demands a better version of the player who steps onto the court. For Alex Eala, indoor clay at a WTA 500 event is exactly that kind of stage. It's not asking her to be perfect right away. It's asking her to compete, to adjust, and to handle those first uncomfortable moments on a new surface with the same composure she showed after Miami. And if the airport scene told us anything, it's that the belief around her isn't fading, it's growing. The expectation is rising. The only question now is whether she can match it with results, because at some point belief and results have to meet. Right now the belief is loud, visible, and real. The results are trending upward, but they haven't yet produced that one defining moment, the week where everything clicks, where performance matches the energy that follows her everywhere. Linz might not be that moment. Or it could be exactly that moment. Indoor clay, a new format, one of the top seeds in the field, and a crowd that already knows her name before she even serves. The ingredients are all there. And here's what matters most: even a single opening round win changes the narrative. Not a title, not a deep run, just a solid, composed performance on this surface. That alone shuts down the "can she handle clay?" question before it fully begins. It frames her as a player who can transition between surfaces without losing her edge. And it sends a message to the rest of the field: the girl who arrived to a wall of flags is not just a story. She's a problem. Beyond Linz, the path only gets bigger. The European clay swing leads into some of the most important events in tennis: the Madrid Open, the Italian Open, and eventually the French Open. If she builds confidence in Austria and carries it forward, this stretch could become the phase where her ranking takes another major leap. But before Madrid or Paris even enter the conversation, Linz is the test. It's the moment that proves she can step into a new environment, absorb the pressure, and still perform. Because what happened at that airport wasn't just a moment, it was a statement. The T20 years old, ranked 29 in the world, fans are showing up in a European arrivals hall waving flags before she has even touched the court. The WTA has many players. Very few create that kind of reaction. Inside the sport, some are watching her rise with admiration. Others are watching with something closer to discomfort. Because when a player starts drawing this level of attention, not after a Grand Slam, not after a title, but in the middle of a season, it begins to shift how attention is distributed across the sport. And that kind of shift is never comfortable for those who benefited from the old order. The WTA has been searching for new global stars, and what Eala represents goes beyond rankings. For the Philippines, for Southeast Asia, and for fans who see themselves in someone who doesn't fit the traditional mold, she represents something bigger. A new audience. A new connection. A new reach for the sport, and everyone knows it: the tournaments, the broadcasters, the players walking into Linz who have already seen those airport videos on their phones. The clay season has begun. The draw is coming. The court is waiting, and Alex Eala has already arrived, with momentum, expectation, and a coach who refuses to let her stand still. Whatever happens next, no one in that building is going to treat her like just another name in the bracket. The airport already made sure of that. She hasn't played a single point in Linz yet, and everyone already knows her name. The clay season is just getting started, so hit that like button. Subscribe and stay tuned, because this story? It's only getting bigger.